This video is about what we need to do to lose weight and what we need to have to lose weight. But before I can talk about any of that, I need to put a little bit of perspective on this. When you were younger, if you got everything that you ever asked for, then you would have been spoiled. And that would mean that you wouldn't have grown up to be the nice person that you've turned out to be. And if you're not a nice person, maybe you were spoiled as a kid. Sorry. Today, I see a lot of little spoiled people walking around in the world, and they are hard to deal with. And I'm being totally transparent here because if there's any chance that we're going to change what's going wrong with you, I need to be as honest as I possibly can so that you can see it. We've seen the results of parents giving their kids everything they ask for, right? Gimme, gimme, gimme. And the result has been 2 generations, not just 1, 2, of young people who don't know how to work hard for what they have and give up extremely easily. That being said, Wellness Warrior, you have been catered to when it comes to food. So spoiled when it's come to food, because the first processed food was introduced in 1809, which means that all of us that are watching this video grew up in a time where on some level there was convenience of not needing to be stuck to the kitchen in order to make a meal, and that we've had the lovely fun of having garbage junk food to eat that gives us loads of flavor with absolutely very minimal nutritional value. I wanted to say none, but I can't say none. We are spoiled when it comes to food. And as with any spoiled child, if this is going to change, it's going to take a lot of hard work to get these bad behaviors out of us. Have you ever made this mistake with your kid, if you have children, where you give them a privilege or a responsibility or something that you think they're old enough to manage and then realize that they are not old enough to manage it? And now you're stuck in this situation because it's not going well and you need to figure out how to rectify the story. How hard is it to now tell this child that they're no longer able to do this? I gave you an upgrade and now I'm taking it back. Now you're in the position where you have 2 options. I either let it move forward and let the kids see that actually they're not managing this well and it's not going to go well if they keep having this thing, or I'm working really hard to take back what I've given you. Neither one of these situations is pleasant, ideal, fun. It's a huge struggle. But an even bigger problem than that is when you're watching parents who give their kid the right to make decisions that the kid is not old enough to make. And you're watching this train wreck happen where they're deciding on what they're going to eat for supper, or they're deciding on what time they're going to bed and making all the wrong choices, and life is falling apart. The house is in chaos. And the parent doesn't get that that's happening because of the choice that they're giving this child to make that they're too young to make. We are actually in that story right now. When it comes to our health, our weight, food, we are in that story. Or at least I know that I was in that story. It is absolutely fine to eat rice, pasta, potatoes, bread every single day. As a matter of fact, it's okay to eat them several times a day. No problem with that. And it's normal to have dessert after every meal, because after breakfast, you're going to have some fruit. Yes, fruit is a dessert, right? Nature's candy. Then after lunch, you're going to have a granola bar. And then after supper, you're going to have the real dessert, so ice cream or cake or something like that. And it doesn't even stop there, because it's fine to have 2 to 3 snacks per day. And oh wait, those snacks are usually desserts too, because I could tell you for sure that my snacks were often chocolate bars, chips, cookies. Do we see the spoiled child in this story? Was anybody telling me that this behavior was inappropriate? 100%. The rice, pasta, and potatoes was endorsed because I'm from the Caribbean. My family's from the Caribbean. The granola bars and fruits were endorsed. Canada Food Guide. You're supposed to have 8 to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables per day, and grains are no problem. So granola bars, right? Well, what about the chocolate bars? We see commercials all the time about how a chocolate bar can stop you from being hangry, right? So again, completely endorsed. At every turn, I was being shown and told that my behavior was completely fine, and yet somehow I was supposed to be at a healthy weight. If at every turn I'm indulging what I want to eat, and what I want to eat is garbage, there is no way that my health will remain in good standing. The same way that occasionally, to have a well-balanced child, you need to say no to what they want and make sure that they're getting what they need, I would have needed to say no to the junk I was eating and say yes to eating healthy foods. Now, that does introduce this other problem. What's a healthy food? We're going to talk about that in a bit. I want to point out that most of us were raised with the idea that if your behavior is good, then you're going to hear yes from your mom and dad, right? Good behavior equals yeses. And back when I was growing up, that meant that my parents were happy with my behavior, and then they gave me things that were good for me. So I got to play outside, and I got to go, see my friends and visit grandma and all the healthy things that you get for being a good kid. But the thing that they weren't doing is they weren't doing something like, hey, your behavior was great, here's a cigarette, right? Because that would have damaged my health. Now, I have to admit that there were occasions when I was a little kid that I had ice cream or I had cake on my birthday, for example, or at a party. But I'm still going to point out that even the fun foods that I did get were so spread out, first of all, but second of all, oftentimes were things that my mom made at home. There wasn't a lot of pre-packaged junk food in our house. And I think that for a lot of us older folk, we remember that being a reality that our younger, so the last two generations, lots of processed foods, lots of treats, right? Lollipops and gum and ice cream and cake and candy. But now I have money and I can buy whatever food that I want to buy in my house, right? So, long story. What you need to understand is that to be healthy, you need to actually eat healthy food. You can't keep eating garbage, fast food, junk food, all the high carbohydrate and high fat at the same time food, and expect your body to be at a healthy weight. That doesn't work, ever. It doesn't work. That's like wanting your boss to pay you while you're refusing to work. Like, that would never happen, right? We want our body to pay us with good health, but we're not putting in the work of eating healthy. It will never work. Weight loss happens when we eat the right foods, the healthy foods. We eat the healthy foods when we're honest with ourselves about which foods are healthy. Stop spoiling yourself with cookies, cake, ice cream, and then expecting your body to perform miracles. You want to be healthy? Eat meat and healthy vegetables. Then your body can actually heal itself. Then your body can actually give you that good health that you want. The only way to actually solve this is to understand that the people who are telling you that eating garbage isn't a big deal and that it's necessary for you to enjoy your life are actually the people who benefit from you eating those poor quality foods. So that would be people like the food companies that make them, first of all, the obvious answer. But then we also have the nutritionists and the dietitians who benefit from working with you as you try to get your weight under control, because most of us don't need a trainer or a nutritionist if we're not trying to manage our weight. But then we have this other little section where it's that disease management system that's been created because we all eat so poorly, and we get, funneled off into that system at some point. While we're still buying the poor quality foods, though, like the garbage is still coming in the house. And then we're giving the rest of our money to this system. Hit like if you made it this far, because I'm about to tell you exactly, step by step, what to do to solve all this. Here we go. Stop eating packaged foods. Yeah. If there are ingredients on it more than the thing, so broccoli, should say broccoli. If there's more than one ingredient, and stop eating it. Put it down. You need to learn how to eat one ingredient foods. Number 2, eat vegetables that you like. Any way you want. Cook them how you feel. If you don't like vegetables, you have two options. The first option is eat them for 6 months. Just eat them. What you're going to figure out is that after about 6 months, you're going to love eating these vegetables because they're going to grow on you. Option 2, do carnivore. It's just like, don't even bother with the vegetables. Don't bother with anything else. Just eat meat. Well, okay. So I guess there's a third option actually, which is take a cooking course or talk to your friends about how they cook vegetables. See if they can give you a recipe, a different way of cooking. So invest a little bit of time, energy, effort into learning to cook vegetables in a way that you like them. I can tell you for myself, when I started keto, I was the person who didn't like vegetables. The only vegetable I ever ate was potatoes and carrots. Those are the two vegetables that are higher in, there's the starchy vegetables, right? They're higher in carbs. So I had to put them down. Well, I started eating keto. I started to experiment with vegetables. Eventually, I loved my vegetables. Why? Because after 6 months of eating them and spicing them the way I like and figuring it all out, I just love them eventually. You can figure it out. Number 3, eat normal cuts of meat, whatever meats you like, but normal cuts, not lean, normal cuts, because there's going to be some fat on there that's going to give you the energy you need because you've taken your carbohydrates down to 20 or less. That's it, right? Getting healthy isn't that hard. What's really hard is starting. That's super hard. And then sticking with it. That's also hard if you didn't start properly. So I just gave you the 3 steps to start, but if you need more assistance in how to do those 3 steps, there's some videos on the screen right here about how to stick to your keto lifestyle. So click on that link. I'm going to meet you over there.